This evening's event. We'd like to welcome you to Fairhope Mayor Karen Wilson's annual State of the City address. My name is Lori Dubose with WABF Radio, Fairhope's radio station, now located at 1480 on the AM radio dial. And now we'll welcome Pastor William Parsons with Redeemer Lutheran Church in Fairhope for our invocation. Pastor.
Let us pray, shall we? In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Heavenly Father, guardian and keeper of your people, watch over those who are entrusted to the administration of the Fairhope government. Make them pure of heart and honest. Keep them from temptation and bribery, from favoritism or prejudice, from indolence or neglect of duty. Create in them the earnest desire to serve faithfully. Attend their efforts, that their work may not suffer from mediocrity. Permit them to experience the joys of noble service completed for a grateful community. Encourage cooperation from those who are served and from those who help to serve. Use every willing service and effort to put forth good government. Bless those who rule over your people here in Fairhope, that your will may be accomplished among them. Promote all things for the good of your kingdom, of your Son, in whose name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. And now if you would please stand for the presentation of the flag and the Pledge of Allegiance from Boy Scout Troop number 47 Color Guard. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we'd like to welcome the Honorable Mayor of Fairhope, Alabama, Karen Wilson.
Thank you, Lori, and thank you all for coming. We're going to sit and make it a little casual. Can everyone hear me okay? All right. Okay. I look back at some of the other state of the cities, I mean, not just Fairhope, but other cities, and I do want to go over some of the things that, are important to us about statistics and financials and things like that, but I also want to take this time to tell you what I put together today is going to be going over a plan that takes us, where we came from as Fairhope and where we are today. If I talked about where we want to go, then, we'll be here too long. So I am going to take that portion of the presentation and talk about it in June, and we will have a date for that very soon. It will probably be in the same place, so we'll do it when it's available for Centennial Hall. But the reason I think it's important to understand where we came from, and many of you already know this, is because what we have today is really why we're all here. And it didn't just happen by accident. You know, it did come from a plan and from a vision. And we are still in that place today, but I do think that we have some more planning to do and really go back to a vision, go back to our roots. And this will come from you, our city council, and it will definitely be collaborative. I'm very excited to talk about the next presentation, which is basically together, but I do want to get some more input from everyone. So, our first slide. Okay. Where we came from. I'm not sure if some of y'all have picked up the book, The Spirit of Fairhope, but it is something that I published about maybe 5 years ago, and that's where I really started, you know, things started coming together because a lot of books were read to get that book together. It's mostly pictures, but we wanted to put it together in a way that when you opened up anywhere in the book, that you could get a sense of Fairhope through its history and some current things. But how we got to the state we're in, it's a place where most of you have either chosen to stay or moved because it's its unique character and the fact that it is very different from most communities across the country. There is a reason for this, and the reason is where we are today and how we can plan for tomorrow, so vision is once again incorporated into a plan for our future. A vision which started from our forefathers, our founding fathers. In 1870s, throughout our country, people were responding to the negative changes in their communities. The People's Party was formed when the agriculture prices declined while the corporate sector and banks were rising. Folks believed special interests were taking advantage of the little guy. It's interesting how history repeats itself. Okay. Economist Henry George published his first book, Progress and Poverty, which sold several million copies. And I can tell you today, a book that sells several million is still huge. That's an international bestseller for sure. Its sales exceeded all other books except the Bible during the 1890s. Many read his book. Men and women from all walks of life joined the Georgist movement and described its change, that it changed their life and the way they thought about their future. It became an international bestseller and shaped many countries. His writings were more popular than Walt Scott, John Stuart Mill, and William Shakespeare. John Dewey himself estimated that Progress and Poverty had a wider distribution than almost all other books on political economy put together. Now, lucky for us, 28 followers of Henry George writings were so inspired that it motivated them to envision what a city would look like if they were able to just make it from scratch, you know, make a model community that was created on the concept from the writings in his book. A community free from monopoly that gave everyone equal opportunity, the full reward of individual efforts, yet the benefits of cooperation in matters of general concern. This group of free-thinking visionaries explored 6 states before they found the perfect location for their utopian vision. They became our founding fathers and declared it had a Fairhope of success. It really is an amazing story. Fairhope was inspired and founded on a book. People uprooted their lives and their families and created a model city that changed their lives and the world. Because of their vision, and it was good, the implementation of a plan that was successful, Fairhope attracted incredible talent. I mean, people from all backgrounds, and we still do today. And I never did forward that. I'm sorry. That was his book, and that was the slide. The people Fairhope attracted, because of the vision, it attracted educators. One of the original educators we all know is Marietta Johnson, who founded the School of Organic Education in Fairhope. The school was praised in John Dewey's influential 1915 book, Schools of Tomorrow. Dewey and Johnson were founding members of the Progressive Education Association. It is the oldest continuously operating progressive school in the nation. I think, but maybe just recently, I don't know. Okay. But it was built nurturing children to develop a love of learning. And the educator and author, Lydia Cummings, I don't think she got as much attention, but she wrote Muscular Exercises for Health and Grace. She taught physical education across the U.S. She moved to Fairhope in 1904 and co-founded the School of Organic Education. I did go to organic, and I did learn how to square dance, and I learned how to grow a turnip. It was interesting. Okay. It attracted inventors. Lizzie Maggie invented the landlord's game to demonstrate how rents enrich property owners and impoverish tenants. She hoped that when children played the game, it would provoke their natural suspicion of unfairness and that they might carry this awareness into their childhood. Of course, it was bought by Parker Brothers, and we know it is Monopoly today, and when I was a kid playing it, I did not learn that. I just got very frustrated when I lost, but you know, it's still an interesting thing. Another inventor, Jimbo Metter, he invented the paddleboard. He was a pioneer in the stand-up paddleboard fishing and helped design fishing paddleboards for the native watercraft. Some of y'all might know him as Winston Groom's best friend, and of course he was the character Forrest Gump. And there he is, sorry. There's nothing about him that's like Forrest Gump except his voice. But
His voice really is?
oh my gosh, when they made the movie, the person that trains people how to talk, they used him for Tom Hanks. So it is absolutely his voice, but he is brilliant. Okay. Speaking of, Fairhope attracted authors from Upton Sinclair, who wrote over 100 books, including The Jungle. And then, of course, we know a lot of the authors that we have here today. Just people are really surprised. W.B. Griffin, who wrote some of the series of MASH, said that in the 70s when they were going to make a sign for Fairhope, the welcome sign for Fairhope, it needed to say, "To Fairhope, where more people write than read." To entrepreneurs. During this time, everyone was an entrepreneur. The fact that we are still a town of mostly entrepreneurs is one of the big reasons we have the character we have today. This is a picture of Seacoast. They made telescopes, and of course, they do have one. You'll see Fairhope, Alabama, if you ever got to the top of the Eiffel Tower. But I honestly think, I don't know if we can prove this or not, but I think we have more entrepreneurs per capita in Fairhope than anywhere in the world. And I think you know that if you start thinking about it. You don't have to have a storefront, but we have just so many professionals, service people, creative types, authors. I mean, it's an incredible melting pot. Fairhope has always been rich in the arts, literature, and music. Since the turn of the 20th century, the bluffs along the bayfront were used for plays and concerts from their early days. And they still do. Fannie Flagg, I just love the way it's simple, but it's true. She calls Fairhope, it's a magical place. This is the general fund, and when we do the final presentation for where we want to go, all of these graphics are going to be in a book that we're going to print and give at the next presentation. But I wanted you to see here that it wasn't that long ago that our ad valorem taxes, well, sales tax exceeded ad valorem taxes. So, you know, we do want to make sure that we spend time and money increasing that sales tax revenue, because most of the sales tax revenue comes from outside the city. And this is our general fund. It says the general government makes up 39%, and if some of you came to my financial presentation, you will see that in 2017, we've departmentalized that a lot more. But right now, it's just one big chunk. But you can also see that our police makes up the biggest expense besides the departments that are broken down in general government. Okay. And as some of you may know too, with the financials, I did spend a great deal of time and with a lot of help from our finance director, Jill, and I think she's sick today, but she helped out a lot. We took all of the financials and departmentalized them, so utilities is separate, financially separate. It will always be used when needed for the city, but it has to be used in a transparent way so we know how each utility is doing, and then also how the departments are doing in the city. So I'm not going to talk about that today, but that's another whole presentation. But by taking the $6 million or so that was in the budget for this year that was under operating for utilities, those were operating expenses for the city. We took that out, and now you can see how the city has been running. We put the last 4 years up there. In 2013, after our financials were reported and you don't use utilities to subsidize, we were at a deficit of $4.2 million. 2014, we were at almost $4.4 million. 2015, a little over $2 million. And in 2016, $4.2 million. And some people ask, you know, we've always used the utilities, so why are we saying that the city is now running at a deficit? All we're doing is adding the transfer from utilities. But if you put operating where operating doesn't go, operating expenses, then you're never going to be able to manage those departments and figure out how can we do better. And also, if you're always showing that the city is not financially strapped, then you're never going to be able to figure out how we can do better and how do we fix that. So it's not, it is more of an internal thing so we can manage how to fix this deficit. The city is not going to be in the business of a big profit center, but we do want to pay for our expenses. I'm sorry, that's the transfer. So it's still showing at a deficit, but I mean, when the city's operating is going, or it doesn't go negative, but we do pull from the utilities. So we're not going bankrupt, but we are going to report in a different way. And the funds here, you can see for utilities. You can see a better picture of what the utilities profit, because these profits need to be reinvested in those utilities. And we can also, if before you're putting operating from the city in water, gas, sewer, or electric, you have no idea how that department is truly doing. And that's why we're going to start putting goals. This is actually a place where you can run this area like a business. And then just a snapshot of the revenue and expenses. The revenue, you can see it's kind of backwards from 13, 16 coming first. We're almost through our fiscal 2017. Our fiscal year ends the end of September. We will have a budget to review to see where we are end of June, to present to council, just to see, in each area where we're doing well and where we might need to make some adjustments. Because, looking at it once a year you can't plan. So we will have an update soon on that. This is our debt reduction, which is very good. You can see in 2016, the revenue and expenses and the amount that we reduced, which we've been paying a lot the last years, and that's great, because if we have all of these infrastructure needs and we weren't able to pay off any debt, that would be very, very sad. So, but now we do need to start looking into ways to invest in our infrastructure. Okay. This is our cash on hand. All these slides look the same, so I'm sorry, I'm kind of trying to find. Okay. That's where we are in 2016. And then this is, that's our capital projects. I'm missing that slide on this one. I put this in here because that's what we've always had in our book, and, I want to make sure we have all that information. Now, the immediate infrastructure needs, this is also a snapshot of every one of our utilities. It's electric. We have to replace and consolidate 5 of our substations into 4. That's the price on that. The gas lines, we have 16 miles left of cast iron that need to be replaced. We have until, I think it's like 2028 to do it, but I've talked to Richard, and you'll get an opportunity to meet him at the next presentation. These are things that we feel need to be done now, because you have to also look at accidents and things like that. Interest rates are low. I think we need to take care of our infrastructure. Wastewater, talking about having another sewer plant, maybe near Quail Creek. All these things are ideas. We have not decided on anything, but we do want to get sewer away from the bay. Okay. And stormwater. This is just a slide that you can read, but know that stormwater will be of the utmost importance. We live in the rainiest city in the country. We have been building in a way that I think we have very good regulations right now, but we can't use the same for every place in Fairhope when we have a lot of areas in Fairhope that are a lot more sensitive than others. And it doesn't matter who you are, you're experiencing stormwater. So this will be handled in a comprehensive way, and it will also be part of the education and awareness of what the city is responsible for, what you as a resident are responsible for in your neighborhood, and we're going to do it together because it's really how you have to fix it. And so that just know that it's going to be a priority. When we talk about this presentation, it's where we came from and where we are today. We know that this is not something we could ignore any longer. Okay, so we are doing something right. And I think every year they create another award, and Fairhope seems to be in the top 10 of that. And I think cities across the country know about Fairhope. Some of y'all travel and they're like, oh, Fairhope. And we want to keep it that way. When we talk about tourism and people say, oh, but I mean, can't we just not talk about that? And I am with you on that. But what we do want from tourism that we already have is we want to capitalize on that tourism. Right now, if you think about it, we don't have accommodations. So we have a lot of events for our citizens. There's a lot of businesses here that do a lot of active things and a lot of nonprofits. I mean, we have an active city that's always doing something to enrich our community and our quality of life. People want to be a part of that, even if they don't live here. But when we don't have proper accommodations, people stay elsewhere, and we do lose that money, and lodging taxes, people going out to eat, and shopping. I mean, they come here, but you usually shop, eat, and spend more money where you're staying. And so those are things we have to think about. I know that we'd like to form a gate and say, we're in a bubble now, but tourism done right is extremely good for a city, and it will reduce the amount that the citizens pay, the voters pay for other things. So where we are today, since 2010, our population has increased 24%. A friend of mine gave me some unbelievable data that I, really looked at today, and it's really the first time that I've seen this current information that I'm going to share with you. It's block data census from 2015. And the population in the whole of Fairhope is 32,079. This is inside and outside the city limits. And the population inside the city limits is 16,857. I'm going to show you several different slides and about population too, but this is a list of personnel. And I thought this was important to show because as a government, I'm not a big believer that the government has to become bigger, believe me. But government does have to grow with services as a city grows. And if you look at 2010, we had a total, now we're just looking at full-time employees that work year-round. We had 281 people. In 2016, we had 288. Today, this is, we do have hires that we need to hire, but today, on payroll right now, full-time, we have 270. And then we have 29 budgeted vacancies to fill. But just to give you a few more stats, we've increased, while our population has increased 24%. That's inside the city limits. We also know that we service a lot more than inside the city limits, but I'm strictly showing you a snapshot of inside the city limits. If we've had that type of growth, we have grown personnel 2%. And today, if we were to hire everyone tomorrow, that growth from 2016 to hiring full capacity would be 6%. The other thing that we have to do as a city is start, just like we're departmentalizing financials, we have to look at every department as a tiny business and manage, the staff within that department. Some departments are service, but they still, they need to be managed in a way that there's a lot of departments that have a lot more needs. We're going to get to the police in just a second, but last year we spent $560,000 on overtime. But if you see where we came from in 2010 to where we are today, you can see that even if we bring it up to just filling spots, we're not running at full capacity. This was 2016. So when we had 288 people, we spent $560,000 on overtime. And, we just need to manage that better to bring better services and obviously save money too. But we do have to grow as a government, at least a little bit, as the population grows. Okay. This is Fairhope, the Fairhope area in blue. It's kind of a blue-green in some of the areas. And then that outline, which is kind of in green and red, is our school jurisdiction, school district, that has our 5 public schools. The school district's population is 33,093. The area, the square miles of this area is 76 miles, 76.67 miles. We have enrolled 5,030 students this year, and we are now at, I have updated figures for mid-year because that does fluctuate a little bit, but we are pretty much equal now, the number of students that live outside the city and the number of students that live inside the city. And the only reason we would bring this up, because we are county schools and we're remaining county schools, but we do have to know for a long time, I'm not sure when it started, but the city of Fairhope, being the giving city that it is, and we're going to continue to do it, has always paid for a lot of services for our schools, upwards of $500,000 a year. I mean, for our stadium and everything that we do to make that successful. But I have a long list of things that we pay just in services. And so I think it's about 560 now, 560,000. And then we're adding 2 service officers to our schools, middle school and high school. I don't have that figure with me right now. And then our appropriation every year is around $350,000. So just for simplicity, we do donate about $1 million a year. And that figure needs to grow based on the growth that we get. Let me just put this in here. So if the $1 million roughly, and we have let's just say 5,000 students, and we're about halfway in and out, we do have, not that the kids are paying for this, but we do have 2,500 students right now that are going to continue to be taxed more because the homes outside the city limits are not, they don't pay city property tax. Okay. So I just wanted to show a picture like this. That's all of Fairhope, and we call this the macro view. I learned that today. It includes Point Clear, Montrose, Barnwell, and then, but what we normally look at as a city is the micro view, and that's the inside. We do have to look at everything now because there are a lot of things that we're paying for that covers all of this area. And bringing all the facts to the table can help us come up with solutions for long-term sustainability. In 5 years, the growth will be exponential. And if we are running at the deficit that I told you we did in 2016, $4.2 million as a city, and we're continuing to grow, and the bigger growth is happening outside the city limits, we do have to come up with solutions. Now, this map, all of them are sideways, by the way, because I wanted to make them big and so you could see them better. But this is Baldwin County, and in red is our inside the city limits, Fairhope. From 2010 to 2016, households have increased from 10,599 to 12,025. This is our police jurisdiction. If that's all of Fairhope, that's our police jurisdiction. And then this is all of Fairhope, and that's the police jurisdiction. And this is all of the areas. It includes Fairhope city limits, which is in the green, Point Clear in yellow. The Fairhope police is kind of the red, but it's an underlaying. And then the Fairhope planning area is the orange. It makes up a little bit more than all of this. So this area is really what is operating our city right now. And this is the part where we have to figure out how we can get more contributions. It really does solve a lot of problems financially, but the most important thing it does is it helps us control the way we grow. Because most of that area, you look at this, that's inside the city limits. And that's all of Fairhope. All of the things outside this green is almost all of it's unzoned. And that is what our future is right now. It's a threat. So, I did have this slide here for a reason. Okay. But I've already talked about the 24% growth, so I don't remember why that was there.
To salute our fabulous workers in Public Works.
They do the flowers, and I think we just need a pause they do the flowers. They don't get enough, thank yous. Okay. So, we have to plan our services based on the growth inside the city, but we also have to think about what is outside the city and require more contribution from outside. The way that we are going to do that, and that's what we're going to talk about with the strategic priorities in the next presentation, is when you look at the benefits of being inside the city and the pros and cons, there really isn't any right now, except you don't get to vote. That's a biggie. And you don't get representation, and you can't run for office. Those are actually big things, but that really is it. For the voters and the people who are mostly here tonight, we have to have more people coming in the fold. We have to have the money financially because we have a lot of services that everyone takes advantage of, and I think that's great. But when only half of the people are paying for it, there's just not that many cities that look like this, I promise. And it's not sustainable. But the most important thing is once we bring them in, we will be able to have a better idea of how we're going to grow. So we're building upon what we have that is special, and we're not allowing things to come in that's going to change our whole culture. Again, lots of exciting things to talk about in our next presentation. We are today a community that I feel like is just about perfect. People all the time say, why are you going to change anything? You know, and I'm like, I'm not trying to change anything, but it's those things that are changing. You know, when y'all used to go to a signal, a light signal, and now we're spoiled, don't get me wrong. We sit there and you wait for your minute and a half, but I mean, you know, there is more traffic, and there's just things that are happening that we do want to get a handle on. We have our beautiful bay, rivers, creeks, our non-renewable resources, and there really is not a plan in place right now to restore these and keep them the way they were when we were growing up for our kids. E.B. Gaston, who was the editor of Courier over 100 years ago, said, "No one who had Fairhope sand in his shoes would ever leave or fail to come back." And let's keep it that way. It is clear that Fairhope was founded on vision and that had a plan. We lost our way a little bit, but I think it's because we were all enjoying the good life. You know, something that we're very proud to be in Fairhope, and we say, I'm in Fairhope, what's wrong with it? But we do have threats, and those are the things that we have to start doing now. We have to plan, and we have to continue to have vision for the future, just like the people who uprooted their whole family to build what was built today. So our next meeting, and I'm sorry I didn't have it today, but it will be in June, and it will be the strategic priorities that I cannot tell you enough how excited I am to discuss with you, because this has been where most of the work has happened over the last 6 months, which, by the way, it is 6 months as of yesterday. It feels like 2 years, but you know, it's only been 6 years. It's only been 6 months.
That's hard to believe.
And then I wanted to next talk about the. Did you want to go first, or did you want me to go first?
I think you're going to present the Volunteer of the Year Award.
Okay.
First, let's have a hand for Mayor
Okay.
Wilson and our State of the City.
Thank you.
As is customary, is the presentation of the Fairhope Volunteer of the Year Award, which is selected by the mayor.
Yes. This was a very easy choice for me. Many of y'all might know Charlene Lee. I've known her for many, many years. And she is this, tiny little spitfire. Every time I see her and she comes into a room, she lights up a room. I mean, she is bigger than life. She has always made herself available, but a lot of volunteers volunteer, and I think it's wonderful. But when she volunteers, she impacts that event or whatever she's doing in such an unbelievable way that it's not the same after she has been there. And I've just always appreciated everything that you've done in this city, and I've definitely asked her to help me out on a lot of different events. But Charlene, I'd like for you to come up so you can get... I want to say, too, that if you don't know her, I really would like for you to take the time to get to know her and join her with all the things she does in this community, because it's not only fun, it's very rewarding. She started the walking school bus, And of course, that's picked up right behind the library. And she also helped in a very big way with just pedestrian safety. That's something that we shared and kind of together brought awareness for the fact that, she does the walking school bus. I just don't want to die when I ride my bike on the road. And we joined hands and started what is now called the Good Life Ride, which is in its 8th annual this year. And it's just all about keeping our streets safe for our kids and moms and dads and things like that. So as a result of her efforts, the city of Fairhope was the very first city in the state of Alabama to adopt complete streets, which means when a street is paved, it's paved for all users. And I have to say, being the first city, it's a big deal, and it's because of Charlene. So, thank you.
I really want to thank Mayor Karen Wilson and the City Council and the City of Fairhope. I absolutely love living in the city. I love that I was able to raise my children here. I love the idea that I can age in place here and that I'll be able to walk when my kids take my car keys one day and I can't drive anymore, that I'm going to be able to walk downtown and I'm going to be able to walk to the bay. I mean, it's a pretty incredible place to live. But on the concept of being volunteer, I never had volunteer behind my name before. I worked full-time at some very intense jobs. I loved my work. And it wasn't until I was on maternity leave with my second child that I saw I ended up seeing a community park in another city, and it really inspired me, and I thought this would be cool to be in Fairhope. So the building of Fairhope's Community Park changed me as a person because it turned me into a volunteer. Not just someone that did my own work and my own job, but somebody that reached out for the community, because what happened in that effort is that I saw a whole community come together to design, to raise the money for, and to build a community park. Is there anybody here that was part of that effort? Will you raise your hand? Okay, there's still some that in here that were part. It was truly powerful. And from that, I worked with a nonprofit, and we started looking at how do we add value to the city? What can we do to add value? And we decided anything that makes the city more walkable is of great value. And we thought, who better to walk than children to start daily habits of walking. So we started International Walk to School Day, which led to monthly Walk to School events, which led to the first ever daily walking school bus in the state of Alabama. There's an incredible team at Fairhope Elementary School. The same 4 teachers have walked for 4 years. Every day of the school year, rain or shine, we are out there and we walk to school. We started with 10 or 12 kids. We now walk 40 to 80 kids to school every day. So it's pretty amazing. And I would like to challenge the citizens to join us. If you've never walked to school with a whole group of excited kids, please come out one day. We've only got a couple of weeks left. We take off at 7:20. The kids start coming at 7:05. We take off at 7:20. We walk a half mile from the library to the elementary school, and then you get to walk back up the hill. So the people that are not going into the school building get a little bit of an extra walk. But I'd like to challenge you to come and experience that with us. J.D. Crow, did I see you in the audience? Would you mind raising your hand? We have an incredible logo that I have had people from across the U.S. say, where in the world did you get that logo? It is the best logo I've ever seen for a walking school bus. And it's like everything in Fairhope. People just join in, and people help, and people contribute. And that's what makes this the city it is you can have a vision, an idea, any citizen, and you can get things done because people join in with it. So I'm just proud to be here. Thank you, and thanks the city, and thank you for and I've got to mention the Baldwin County Trailblazers. They are the home of the walking school bus. So I'm extremely grateful for the Baldwin County Trailblazers. And of course, Tico Wiseman had a vision many years ago to connect the trails, and that vision is still going on today with this nonprofit. So I thank every nonprofit, and I thank the whole community for what you do to make this a wonderful place to live. Thank you.
And now, on behalf of Fairhope First, we would like to present the Quality of Life Award. The recipient of this annual award has enhanced the quality of life in Fairhope in some way, usually serving above and beyond in a volunteer capacity. The winner of this award also has the honor of being the parade grand marshal for our Christmas parade, and will be riding in the horse-drawn carriage to start the Christmas parade in December. She has been a photographer, an artist, a writer, an editor, and a philanthropist. She's here today as one of the founders of the highly successful Fairhope Film Festival, the executive director and creative director in charge of programming of the films. When the festival started, this will be its 5th year, it literally started in her garage with a handful of people. They now have an office on Summit Street and have for 3 years. A committee of 32 people, hundreds of volunteers to pull off this mission. And it is a mission. The Fairhope Film Festival mission statement was created to bring the best in world cinematic culture to our region, to introduce our area as a viable location for the film industry, and to encourage Alabama filmmakers. An additional purpose is to increase our state and local economies. The Fairhope Film Festival last year alone attracted 2,730 attendees. Over 47 filmmakers, producers, and industry guests. 40 award-winning films were shown over a 4-day period, and over 122,000 Facebook views were made to the Fairhope Film Festival. I was surprised to learn about 50%, 56% exactly, that attend are from Alabama, but the rest are not. They come from all across the United States and perhaps even internationally. So it gives us great pleasure to award our Fairhope Quality of Life Award to Mary Reiser. Mary, I'm sure you'd like to say a few words, I hope.
Yeah, I'm not as eloquent as Charlene. I wish she'd get back up here and do this for me. Can you volunteer? Anyway, this is really pretty easy because I love films, and this city is incredible to work with. The city's been great to us. These volunteers just come, I don't know where they come from, 180, 200, and we have more people, we have to turn them away that want to help, and they're all great, they're friendly. They put the face on Fairhope that you want out there, and people love it. I mean, everywhere I go, they know about this town. They're beginning to know about our film festival, which is really good. We do have a committee of 32 people that work all year round. I mean, not every day, but a lot. I'm calling them every day. And then we have those volunteers, and we have the city, and we have sponsors. We have this school, South Alabama, the library, Eastern Shore Center, all the great sponsors. And last year, the merchants did a big fun thing for us, and well, I can't thank you enough. It's just fun for me, but I'm glad to see that people like it.
Thank you, Mary Reiser. And Mayor, if you have any parting statements, otherwise this concludes our annual State of the City address this evening. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to the Dogwood Trail Maids, the Boy Scout Troop number 47 Color Guard as well.